Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Thursday night Anamkara meditation program. With all my heart and with all my love, I welcome you to our program tonight. It's chanting night, so we're going to get into some chants. But first of all, thank you so much for coming, bringing the fullness of your sublime being, your infinite nature, your divine nature. Of course, you don't have any choice in that because wherever you are, there it is. And so this kind of gathering is just a time when we can really celebrate that, dive into that, become immersed in that, and train the mind to just surrender into that, to just let go. I mean, last week we were talking about seva, and that's a way of surrendering to it in action. Tonight it's how do we let go into the chant, the power of mantra, the throb of the infinite as our own being. So we'll be getting into that practice this evening. But we'll start with the opening mantras. And so they too are that invocation of our highest nature through the power of sound known as mantra. And the first part is the Ganesh mantras that invoke the power of the infinite to remove obstacles, to get things out of the way. And especially it invokes the archetypal form of that power, that is the delightful dancing Ganesh. And then the second part of the mantras is really invoking what's beyond it all, the fullness, the infinitude that takes all forms and yet remains its infinite, boundless self. So we'll start with the opening mantras. Shrim Matakalim Devi Ki Jaya Gajananam Bhotaganari Sevitam Kampita Jambo Palacharu Bhakshanam Umasutam Shokam Vinashakarakam Namami Vigneshwara Parapankajam Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamandaya Purnamevavanshishyate Om Shanti 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 Shrim Matakalim Devi Ki Jai. So once again, with all my heart, I welcome you to our program this evening. So we get to dive into the sweetness of chanting tonight. And, this kind of practice as an invocation of what our highest nature is, and making use of this sublime form to enter the formless. And so that's part of what happens as we unfold the power of chanting and the power of mantra, is we go from the form to the formless. We go from the sound forms of the divine as mantra, and then at the end of each chant, we take some time to just sit in the stillness to dissolve everything into its source. What's the source of mantra? What's the source of our mind? What's the source of our body? That infinitude of being that is known in that stillness. So inviting. And so mantra and chants help us to just be drawn deeper and deeper into that sublime nature of our own being. So we're going to be starting with the chants, and we're going to start with Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga. And this is a chant that invokes the Great Mother, the Divine Mother. One of the forms of Mahakali is right behind us, the Mahakali Yantra. And she's the dark goddess, the black goddess, symbolizing that mystery. That's a mystery to the mind, but it's self-luminous. So it boggles the mind to enter into that state of both luminosity and utter mystery, utter darkness to the mind. But when we leave the mind behind, that's when the mystery is solved. But it's beyond words. So when we come back from that state, all the mind can do is shed some tears, joy and delight of having been in that divine embrace, and knowing that it continues even when the mind becomes present again. It is the Shakti that creates the mind, dances as this thought, this feeling, this memory, all these different things. All that same power, energy. But we can go into the formlessness of it, or we can delight in all the forms she takes. Because as mother, as the great mother, Mahakali, she takes all forms. So all forms are her form. So we'll be chanting this. And you can turn up your speakers and just chant along. Because hearing about chanting or listening to chanting doesn't do it. We have to chant, right? It's like if you're thirsty. If you hear about water, if you see a picture of water, does it quench your thirst? Now you have to drink. Chanting is like that. So we just get immersed in it. And then it quenches, such a deep thirst that we have for the divine. So here we'll chant, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga. Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga, Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Kali Durga, Namo Namah. Om Mata Kali, Om Mata Durga. That stillness, the gift of mantra, draws us into that, the source. The true resting place for the mind is in our boundless self. The mantra is an invitation to go there, be refreshed, come back and walk that into the world. So now we're going to do a chant that invokes the auspicious one, Shiva. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mahadeva, Mahadev, the great infinite divine Lord, Mahadev, Shiva. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Shambho is another name like Shiva, means the auspicious one. Mahadeva Shambho. So it's an invocation. Jaya is hail, victory to. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. And then at the end we'll sit in the stillness, the gift of Shiva. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho. Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Jaya Jaya Shiva Shambho, Mandeva Shambho, Jaya Shiva Shambho. So now we're going to switch traditions. We're going to do a chant from the Buddhist tradition. And this is an invocation of the Great Mother in the form of Tara, and most specifically in the form of red Tara. So this is Jaya Jaya Tarama, Jaya Jaya Tarama, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha. And Tara is this wonderful emanation form that the infinite takes to bestow the blessings of compassion, of love, of leaping forward to help remove the suffering of all beings, to help bring to a seeker whatever they need to get free. So, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha. So we'll chant and invoke this sublime one. And even while we're chanting, you know, one of the wonderful aspects of chanting is we're putting this out into the universe. But even while we're chanting, we can hold in our consciousness loved ones, other people, beings that we want to have surrounded, infused with the power of grace that flows through the mantra, that flows through the chant, so that we indeed are incorporating chanting as a practice, not just for our own self, but for all beings. So it's another form of serving with delight, to be a conduit of that power of mantra, this throb of the infinite, and then really envisioning it, embracing and freeing all others from suffering and all the causes of suffering. Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama. Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha, Om Tare Tam Soha. Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama, Jai Jai Tarama. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. Om Tare Tam Soha. So this next chant is another Tara chant. And this is the great Tara mantra. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. So this mantra invokes really the fullness of Tara in all her forms, in all her colors. It's done specifically for green Tara, but it's also used for other forms of Tara, white Tara, black Tara, so yellow Tara. So we're invoking the great mother, that boundless compassion, that boundless love, the boundless healing quality of the infinite, to hold us and really transform our mind and consciousness, to draw us into the very source of our being. There are certain kinds of pain that the body, because of its karma and this life, is going to go through. Certain kinds of pain that the mind is going to go through. But the heart of our being is beyond that. And so when we're calling on that through these mantras, it's also because the more we're living in that state of knowing that, feeling that, breathing that, walking that into the world, feeling it in every moment, then even though the mind and body are going to go through challenges, we now have the experience of then it all being held in the divine. That it then infuses us with the strength, with the clarity, with the patience, with the power, with the forbearance to move through these things, as well as to have those that can be healed and removed, done with. Right? So we'll be chanting now that great Tara mantra, Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. And then after that, we'll just sit in the stillness. That stillness out of which all mantras arise and into which all mantras dissolve. And when we sit in that stillness, even if the mind moves, we can watch it from that place of stillness and see that everything in the mind also, it arises out of stillness, dissolves back into stillness. Just watch the course of any thought, feeling, sensation. They arise and subside, arise and subside. And you are the boundless spaciousness of pure being, filled with love and compassion, wisdom and unshakable equanimity, just watching that play. So, taking refuge in your highest nature through mantra, Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. 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 Om Om Tare Tuttare Ture Soha. 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 Om Tare So we'll close with the chant Om Kali Ma, Kali Namo Namaha. So we end with this prayer, and may all our practices truly benefit everyone, and may all beings know complete freedom from suffering. Namaste. So keep the chants, keep the mantras going. It's the throb of the infinite, the throb of the universe. And many of those mantras are already arising within. That's where the sages first heard them. And so when we go deep into meditation, we can hit that layer where we experience directly the infinite consciousness delighting in the form of sound before there is even an outward sound, a physical sound. Just mantra arising and arising and arising. Om Kali Ma, Om Kali Ma, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Take refuge in that. You're taking refuge in your own sublime self. And then empowered by that, we walk that into the world, to everyday life, every aspect of our lives. Just being carried along by that throb of the infinite of the mantra. So keep coming home to that. So I want to thank you all for coming this evening and being people who practice this kind of just engaging consciousness, the infinite, the divine, then empowered, walking it into the world at a time so desperately needed. So thank you for being people who are committed to practice in your own ways, and then living that into the world. So that itself is seva, is selfless service. But selfless service also brings the bliss, the delight of our highest nature. And when we're serving, we're really connected with that and walking that into the world. So those qualities of compassion, of patience, of loving kindness, of wisdom, of equanimity and strength, that all arise from the very source of our being, then empower us to live that into the world and into our relationships and our work and everything else. So thank you for doing that in your own ways. And then coming to these programs on a Thursday evening and sharing the power of your presence, the power of your practices, the power of your commitment. Thank you. So with all my heart and with all my love, thank you for coming, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Namaste. Have a great week.